welcome to another episode of Deep Mountain Security. Today I kind of want to go over data privacy and security in stuff, yeah. So, I kind of want to go over a couple of ways that you guys can use to protect yourself online from all kinds of different things. So the first thing I want to start off with is kind of going over using other people's computers. So when you use somebody else's computer, and this happens fairly often, a friend's like, you're over at a friend's house and you need to check your email or something, and you don't have it on your phone because who knows why. But let's say you needed to download something from your email onto their computer, and so you're going to go sign into your email on their computer, right? You don't necessarily know what kind of software their computer might be running, what kind of malware their computer might have, how secure their computer might be in general. That could cause some issues. So a couple of things that you can do, actually, and I'm going to do this in a couple of web browsers to kind of show you guys a couple of things, is you can open an incognito or a private browsing tab or window, which what that does is it kind of helps to isolate yourself from your friend's computer. So, and there's generally keyboard shortcuts for this as well. So you can go new in private window, which this is an Edge and works for Internet Explorer as well. So that opens the in private window, and what these private browsing options do is they don't store cookies, passwords, or other forms of data that might be left behind after you close out and leave. So if I log into a website right here and then go ahead and click the close button, when my friend goes back up, so if I sign into google.com in a private browsing window and then I go to my regular window and go to google.com, it's not going to show me as being signed in. However, if I was to sign in here and then close out of Microsoft Edge, it'll generally retain your information when you open it back up. And this goes for other browsers too. In Chrome, it's called Incognito. So we can go to new Incognito window. You'll notice that there's also a Control-Shift-N. So if I do Control-Shift-N on the keyboard, it'll also open it up. And this is pretty much the same thing. It just doesn't store like cookies, history, and stuff like that. That's not necessarily going to block absolutely everything from going through your friend's computer, but it'll help keeping your friend or whoever might have access to your friend's computer from being able to get into your accounts as easily. Same thing in Firefox. Control-Shift-P actually in Firefox will open up a private browsing window, or once again you can come up here and then go to new private window. So this does the exact same thing pretty much in all major browsers. It pretty much just keeps your tracking information discreet. It doesn't save passwords or try to autofill forms or ask if you want to save a password for a site so you can't accidentally click on it, etc. So that's one thing that I find really useful. Another thing that you can use is So that's a way, if you're on a friend's computer and you're accessing stuff, then that's one thing that you can do to help secure yourself. However, what about if you're in an insecure environment that your network itself might potentially be compromised or malicious? How do you go about that then? And there's a couple of things that you can do. One of which I recommend is actually using an encrypted VPN tunnel. So I'll post links to this down below. One of my favorite services is actually called Speedify. And they do a couple of things. I actually found them because they also do link aggregation, but that's a video for another day. However, what Speedify does is they actually, I believe, use Vultr servers. I'll include a link to that too because I'll get to that in a second. But this is probably one of the most simplest ways to create an encrypted VPN tunnel between you and one of their remote data centers. And they got a nice little, what is a VPN, whatever, fancy marketing stuff that they got on their site. But essentially what it does is so not only is it a VPN tunnel to, another data center, but anyways, the differences between a VPN and a proxy server. Some people will think that a proxy server might be able to keep them safe. All a proxy server really does is it reroutes your traffic through something else that's really not secure, and whoever you're using to route it through can actually see pretty much all your traffic. So, that's not something you really want to do. Certain situations might warrant the use of a proxy service or something like that, in which case, sure, whatever. But what I find to be more effective generally is an encrypted VPN tunnel. So this means that all the traffic between your computer, if you download this and run it, between your computer and whatever website you visit, Facebook or Gmail or who knows what, that's all going to be completely encrypted. Even your HTTP sites, like this is HTTP right here, that doesn't have the HTTPS on it right now. So even sites like that will be encrypted across your network and to their server, and they're actually using Vultr servers. I'll put a link down below for this as well. But anyways, Vultr is a cloud computing company where you can host your own servers. And I'll get a little bit more into this in a second for the more advanced users who want to do a little bit more of their own configuration of their infrastructure. But Speedify is great because it's simple and easy to use. Their pricing's decent, I suppose. So the first gigabyte of yours is every month is free. After that, it's $9 a month or $50 for a year. I actually buy it by the year because it's the cheapest and I use it all the time. And so I've honestly been really satisfied with this. I'm not promoting them. They're not telling me to promote them or anything like that. I just kind of want to let you guys know this is probably one of my favorite things to use. Another fairly popular service is called HideMe, and that's hide.me. And I believe this is also encrypted, and so you can generate keys. Once again, this can be a little bit more advanced depending on different how things work and stuff like that. So I find Speedify to be probably one of the simplest solutions out there. Hide.me has a little bit more configuration involved, but is actually still pretty decent. So you could go with that too. I don't use them as much though. Or if you wanted to go your own route and kind of go a little bit more in depth in it, you can actually go and create your own server through Vultr. In which case, so if we go to take a look at some of the stuff that they've got. So if we go to their apps section, you can actually deploy an OpenVPN application running on CentOS on one of their servers. And this will cost you anywhere from $2.50 to $5 a month, generally. And it's pretty good. And, not terribly hard to configure. So, depending on how many people you got using it and how often you use it and how much traffic you're putting through it, you might want something, it starts at $2.50 a month and then it goes up from there or whatever. I actually use these guys for hosting a lot of different things for me. Just stuff that I like testing out and stuff like that when I need something in the cloud. But anyway, so you could configure your own OpenVPN solution, and then on your Windows desktop you would run OpenVPN on there and use the private but you use the keys essentially that you generated when setting up your OpenVPN server to encrypt your traffic between your box and the server, and then that would pretty much do everything that these two are already doing. It's an encrypted VPN tunnel to a remote data center, and they've got data centers all over the place. They've got I don't know if it's gonna be right here or not, but they've got stuff everywhere from New York to Los Angeles, I believe. They've got some down in Texas, and they've got one in Denver, and they've got the Florida. They've got a couple other ones in like other countries and stuff like that. So if you wanted to do that, do a little bit more in-depth configuration, you could go with that. And I'll post links to everything down below. But for end users who really don't know what they're doing, this is probably, at least on Windows, is probably one of the easiest things that you can do. It's also available in the App Store, I suppose. Although I would say that it does significantly drain your battery on your phone. I can tell you that from experience. However, on Windows, I've been really happy with Speedify. But anyways, so that, you can use that as a tool to encrypt your traffic between your computer and wherever it's going. So then, if you were on a malicious network and had reason to believe that whatever you're connected to might be able to siphon off your traffic and steal your data, or they might be doing something with it, then you can always go ahead and use an encrypted VPN tunnel, which will encrypt your traffic and keep your stuff secure no matter where your traffic's going. So that's another really useful tool. And to verify, you can kind of verify where your stuff is going. So if you open up PowerShell, so the command on Linux is traceroute. And I believe I covered this a little bit in another video in the last week or so. But so the Linux command is traceroute. You may or not have to install that. In PowerShell on Windows 10, it's traceRT for route, so traceRT or traceroute, however you want to say that. And then you put in your IP address or your DNS name, and then this will actually show you the path to it. So if I'm connected to a VPN tunnel, then it'll go my computer directly to whatever's at the other end of my VPN tunnel. However, if I'm not directly connected to a VPN tunnel, then it'll just go straight out to the internet or whatever and then bounce around. Or, you can kind of take a look and see where is it going through. I've got a 192 address and a 1050 address and some other stuff in here before it finally gets out to a public 205 address. So, you can kind of take a look and see maybe what you might be going through to get out to the internet. And then from there, you can determine if, it's something that you might be worried about, whether or not, you're having issues. If you're just at your apartment, and you've got just a single access point and you're getting an address like this, for example, and then you're getting your public address, you're probably just fine, actually. So, because you're just going through your access point, and that's pretty much it. However, if you're at your home and you have a single access point connected straight up to your internet connection, and you see maybe 3 or 4 or maybe even like 16, that'd be crazy, honestly. You shouldn't see that many ever, pretty much. Private addresses before you get to the internet, you might want to look into something and see if you can figure out what in the world's going on there. But this is also really useful if you're going around to like coffee shops or McDonald's. Their Wi-Fi's notorious for being a spot for hackers to come in and sniff data and use your computer for mining cryptocurrency or stealing your wallets or whatever in the world is going on in the world today, because there's a lot of that. But anyways, so you walk into Starbucks or wherever and you connect up to their Wi-Fi. You're going to check your email or something like that. If Starbucks has not done a decent job of securing their Wi-Fi, most of the time they don't because it's open and public, and somebody else has managed to, set something up where they can steal your traffic, then in that case, whatever passwords you type into email, Facebook, Google, Twitter, social media accounts, email accounts, banking credentials, whatever you might send across the network, they can capture that and they can use it for whatever they want. Because that's the way they work. However, if you're running a service like Speedify or HideMe or OpenVPN or whatever you want to run, encrypting all your traffic directly between your computer and the server in a remote data center somewhere, wherever that might be, and you can always pick the one nearest to you or something like that, if you want to make it go faster, then you can feel a lot more confident that not as many people are trying to steal your data directly right there. It's going to be a lot harder for anyone to actually get through to your data. So I just kind of want to show that to you guys. Hopefully a couple of you guys can find that useful. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I think most of you have. Have a good day.